Hardcore expeditions have had a very long history in Albion Online. They used to give it an insane amount of fame and silver at one point. It was almost unfair. Since then, there have been a couple of nerfs to HCEs themselves and a few patches affecting the way that HCEs are done. In this video, I'm going to cover everything about the current state of hardcore expeditions. I'm going to evaluate the state of hardcore expeditions through three main aspects. How often are they done, how easily they can be done, and how much the gear costs. These three evaluations should give us a good interpretation of where things are in the world of HCEs. Let's first take a look at how often are HCEs done. Unfortunately, there is no way to see the amount of HCEs completed per day. The best metric that we can use to figure this out is by testing it ourselves. This is exactly what I did. I recorded the amount of times that it would take me to find 4 players with the correct roles for maps level 12 through 15. I chose a set of levels because these are maps that the average HCE group can complete fairly easily. Using the looking for group chat, I typed LFM, then the roles that I needed, an IP requirement, along with the map item. For anyone who hasn't done HCE since the last Mace Nerf several months back, the new meta is a tank, healer, frost, expo, and shadow caller. More recently, I noticed that certain tanks will want no healer, 3 DPSs, and a shadow caller. Every time that I hosted a level 12 map, I found all 4 members in under 5 minutes. That is pretty good timing. I then tried to use the LFG to join a group, so join someone who's hosting a map instead of hosting my own, and I was able to find a group every time within 10 minutes. It really varied on what role I was playing, because sometimes I found a group right away, and other times it took a little while. I didn't conduct any actual tests for 15 through 18, but I did notice that looking for people in 15 plus is much quicker than in 12 through 15. And for joining people in 15 plus, it took a little bit longer, if not the same amount of time. 5 minutes to get a group together and 10 minutes to join a group is not bad at all, especially when around 5 or 6 months ago there was a tank shortage. I remember if I didn't want a tank and I would look for people to do HCEs with while using any other role, I would never be able to find a tank. It would take legit like 30 minutes to find someone the tank, and most of the times I would just end up doing it. This is a huge improvement from that time, and it seems like 5 and 10 minutes are something that we can be pretty satisfied with, as that indicates a very stable amount of players doing HCEs. Real quick, if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more Albion Online content. Just because you're able to find people to do an HCE, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to get that map done easily. As I mentioned earlier in the video, after the Mace Nerf several months ago, a lot of people were literally freaking out, saying that HCEs are impossible to do now and no one will ever do an 18 again. This is clearly not the case. 15 through 18 is the whole reason why people still do HCEs. A lot of tanks now actually prefer having no healer and having 3 DPSs even while doing maps 15 through 18. This is done by using a Caerleon cape instead of a Bridge Watch cape and doing the pulls perfectly. Maybe it was just by coincidence that I found 2 tanks during my trials that wanted to do 3 DPSs and no healer, but it seems like a lot more people are willing to try out that approach, and it definitely makes doing the maps a lot more efficient. So the actual difficulty of doing them is not an issue as long as the maps are properly learned. I would say at this point, HCEs are equally as hard as they were back before the Mace Nerf. From the maps that I did with the random teams, things went very smooth. There was only one time where people were killed by mobs out of the 5-ish runs that we did, so from my trials, HCEs are very doable and people wouldn't be able to tank without having a healer if they weren't. From the small trials that I did, and assuming that everyone knows their role and part on the team, HCEs at a pretty high level can be treated as a medium difficulty activity, once again assuming everybody knows what to do, even with a random group of people. How much do HCE sets cost? Once again, during the last Mace Nerf, a lot, and I mean a lot of people were saying that their HCE sets were going to depreciate a significant amount, so they were selling them. Well, Here's a chart of what the current prices are for the 8.3 Masterpiece meta builds. These are just rough prices that I found off the Limhurst market by averaging the last month of sale prices. This doesn't include any swap sets and swap items. As we could see, these items are still worth a pretty penny. Sadly, I don't have a comparison of the prices of each set and Masterpiece roughly around a year ago, but it gives us a pretty good idea of where the prices fall now. As we can see, the items are still pretty expensive and don't seem like they're going to fall anytime soon unless there's a huge HCE nerf. And I say that because if you look at the prices of a lot of the items on the market, you could see that they're selling at a consistent price, so a flat line almost. Overall, HCEs are pretty commonly done. They're medium difficulty to do with a team that knows their parts, and they're still expensive to buy equipment for. That is a really good sign for the HCE community unless there's a huge nerf or HCE completely gets removed for some odd reason in the future. So, to answer the main question of this video, what is the state of HCEs, we can at the very least say that it is stable. Also, in the Into the Fray patch number 6, a new economy adjustment was added. Increased silver sinks and reduced silver faucets by around 10% across the board. This increased the price of repairs by around 10%, and a lot of HCE players were not happy with this as it made the repair bills insanely expensive. The repair cost for repairing items is already fairly high when you're using 8.3 Masterpiece items, so some people say that they see this as a nerf directed towards HCE players. This is also causing newer players that buy a low tier 4.0 item for around 3k to pay over 10k in repairs when going down multiple times. Comment down below your thoughts on this economy adjustment. Well guys, that sums up the video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.